Okay, folks, let's work on creating key signatures without a circle of fifths. And this is for major key signatures. So we're going to create major key signatures without a circle of fifths. So the first thing that I'm going to ask anybody to do if they're not using a circle of fifths is to write their order of sharps and their order of flats. Again, for me, I'm going to write the order of flats first because it's what I remember, BGCF. And then the mirror of that, or if you remember the mnemonic, fat cats go down alleyways eating bacon. Remember, these are all sharps. These are all flats. Okay, so first thing is first, how do you know where to start? How do you know whether something is a sharp key or a flat key, or what am I supposed to add here? One of the ways that I really like to look at this is to see whether or not, if we have D major, what I like to tell people is, all right, go a half step down. What does that give you? Is it a sharp? Is it a natural? What's going on? And it will help you to know whether or not you're going to be using sharps or flats in your key signature. So from D down a half step, we get C sharp, right? Now, that's great. We know we're using sharps. And the great thing about sharp keys is that when we're identifying key signatures, and we say, oh, here it's got 3 or 4 sharp. It's got 4 sharps. Let's go to the 4th sharp and then go up a half step. So when you're essentially looking at T and finding do, the last sharp is always T, and then we go up a half step to do. So when we go do, down a half step, we're finding the last sharp, which means that we can then go down to our order of sharps and say C sharp is our last sharp. So we need to add F sharp and C sharp to our key signature. F sharp, C sharp. And if we saw this, if we didn't have D major down here and I just asked you to identify it, that's exactly the step you'd take to identify it and say, oh yeah, that's D major. Great. Now, let's look at A flat major. We have A flat, go down a half step. Now, usually most of y'all know that if the do has a flat in it, it's going to be a flat key, right? But also look, there's no sharp here. So we're going to go over to our order of flats. Now, unlike with our sharps, we don't just go to A flat and say, okay, B flat, E flat, A flat, and that's it, right? Because when we're identifying key signatures, B flat, E flat, A flat, what we do is we go B flat, E flat, A flat, and back one, and that gives us do. Well, in this case, that doesn't give us A flat major. That gives us E flat major. So when we're working with trying to create key signatures, when we're dealing with flat keys, we need to go to whatever do is and then add one more flat to the right. So we need B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. So we need to add that D flat. Now, if we were looking at this, again, without A flat down here, if we were just identifying this, we would go B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, back one, or fa, mi, re, do, and that would give us the answer. Okay, so let's look at B major. So what we're first going to do is go B, and then we're going to go down a half step. Down a half step from B is A sharp. So we're dealing with a sharp key. Let's go over to our order of sharps. A sharp is right here, so we know we're going to add everything up till A sharp. So F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. That's what we're going to add. Okay, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. And again, if we were identifying this, no B major here, we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up a half step. That's going to give us do. Okay, great. So our next one, we've got E flat major. We can probably take a guess that because it has flat in the name, that it is going to be a flat key. But let's double check ourselves. We have E flat, down a half step, gives us D. Okay, and again, we don't have a sharp here. It's just regular natural. So we know we're dealing with a flat key. We could have said that anyway because we have E flat and that's the name of the thing. Now we're going to go to, we're going to go to E flat, go forward 1, and now we've got B flat, E flat, and A flat that we need in our key signature. Again, remember, we have to add that because if we just have B flat and E flat, then B flat would be our key signature, right? But here we've got that one extra, B flat, E flat, A flat. We go back 1 and that gives us E flat major, right? Okay, F sharp major, we know that, I mean, sharp is in the name of the thing, but that can be confusing for people because sometimes they see F sharp major and they go, oh, F sharp, that must be do. False, right? We need to look, F sharp is our do. We need to go down a half step. E sharp is our T, which means we need to go F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. So we have to add all the things up to E sharp to our key signature for it to be correct. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Because if we just went to F sharp and that's all we added, guess what? If we were to identify that, we'd go up a half step and we would get G as our key. So that can't be right. Okay, now G flat major, again, flats in the name, so we know we're going to be looking at the flats, but all the same, let's just double check. We have G flat. Oh no, this is, I'm in heavens to Betsy, y'all. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Sorry, I did it like I was in the wrong clef. Now we have G flat major. So we've got G flat, down a half step, gives us F. So we know we're going to be dealing with a flat key because we have no sharp here. All right. And again, flat's in the name of the thing, so we know we're looking at a flat key. So let's go G flat, add 1. So we need B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. So let me do it right this time. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. Remember, we can't stop here. We can't just stop at do. We need to add 1 more, C flat. And that gives us our G flat major. So if you are not comfortable with the circle of fifths and you need to know how to create major key signatures, this is how you can do it. And I hope that helps.